I know it's been a little minute. I'm Five in the Cut. Five. Like I said, I'm a content creator, self-improvement, educational, and financial. I really just try to help people and help people younger than me, people the same age as me, and people older than me. But I'm really just trying to help, and I share my situation and share my knowledge. So as y'all can see in the title, we're talking about 5 financial mistakes I would avoid, or more so 5 financial mistakes that you should stay away from, that you can know about, that you shouldn't do. So we're going to be getting into that this video. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all subscribe, make sure y'all comment, push the algorithm like I said. But let's get right into it. All right, boom. So the first one that I would try to avoid, first financial mistake, is not getting a credit card. So when I was 18, that's the first thing I did, was get my credit card, right? Because you got to think, with this credit card shit, they try to make it seem like, all right, you could fuck it up and get debt, right? And you can have bad habits with your credit card, right? But the first thing you do when you turn 18, you want to get your credit card. And you want to think, don't use the credit card for stupid shit. Your credit card is not for spending your money on clothes or going out or any of these things. Mind you, I'm not saying that you won't ever be able to do it. I'm just saying you can't do it right now, right when you first get your credit card. The first thing you do when you turn 18 is get your credit card, because you want to start building your credit. Your credit history. You want to start off with like a secure card. You give them some money and they're going to put a limit for you, right? But you always want to use under 30% of your usage, 10 to 30% of your usage. If you go any higher than that, it's like going to fuck up your credit report, and lenders aren't going to see you as a good person with money, you know what I mean? So right when you turn 18, I would just get one credit card, you feel me? Get it with a big, do your research though. Find one good credit card, right? And I would keep that credit card for about like 6 months, but keep the usage under 30%. Use it on like some gas, maybe some snacks, anything like that, and you're gonna be good off. That's a good start off. You starting off 18 with good credit, but you don't want to have bad habits. Like I said, you want to make sure you're paying your bills on time. If you're using under 30% of your usage, you should be able to pay that statement date every single month. But if you can't pay that statement, you can always just pay the minimum payment. So yeah, but make sure you get a credit card. I feel like the longer you wait, the longer you're missing out. You're gonna need your credit for homes, for cars, for loans, for a lot of things. You're gonna need a good credit score for it. So you want to start that off at 18. So that's one financial mistake that I would avoid doing. Not having a credit card. You need that. So that's number 1. All right, y'all. Number 2 financial mistake I would avoid: not having an emergency fund. You gotta lock in. You're 18, boy or girl. You're seen as an adult now. You know what I mean? Your mom, your dad, they're gonna look at you in a different way, or even your grandparents, your guardians. They're gonna look at you in a different way because you're an adult now. You just turned 18. You always want to have some money to fall back on. An emergency fund is always gonna be your best plan. There's been a lot of times where I think back and it's like, damn, I didn't have an emergency fund and I was in a tight position, and I had to rely on other people. You don't want to have to rely on anybody else but yourself, only if it's really necessary that you want to go to another person. But you want to have that emergency fund for that exact reason. Because think about it, you lose your job, you got that emergency fund, so you're not tripping. You would always want to at least have 3 months, 3 months of emergency fund. If you're just starting off 18, I would have 3 months of emergency fund. I lose my job or something, I'm going to it with my parents, I'm always going to have somewhere to stay or something to eat, something like that. Just have some money aside that's going to help you for when you don't have an income coming in, right? But after you get that 3 months and you get used to saving, I would push that to 6 months. You know what I mean? The more the better, because the longer you can go without having a job, in these situations, the better it is. Especially the older you get. Like you're 18, it might not be as bad, but as you get older, like I'm 20, the bills are going to start increasing. So you're going to need a higher emergency fund, and you're going to need more money to fall back on just in case something bad happens. You know what I mean? And like I said, bro, it really just saves you. You're not really stressed, because if you're going to work and you got like let's say you got like $5,000 saved up. You're not really tripping if you lose that job because you know you have money to fall back on, and you know you're gonna have enough time to get a new income by the time that comes. So, and your emergency fund, you want to keep it simple, bro. Like groceries, maybe car, like gas in your car, bills, like hygiene, you know, simple shit. It's not for you going out to eat and stuff. It's really just for emergency purposes, like, you know, the daily bills that you have to pay. So always have an emergency fund, and if you don't, it's really risky. It's really risky. So that's number 2. All right, y'all, it's really hot in this car, but we're on number 3 finally. So number 3 is not having a second income. You know, I know you're 18, but it's 2026. You gotta lock in quick. You know what I mean? Time move fast, especially if you're a Gen Z. You know, it's not like how the millennials had it. It's not before the 2000s. Social media, technology, all of these things. It's like life is moving at a faster pace. Cost of living is way higher. You know, it's too risky to have one income. So as soon as you can, you need to start working on your second income, whether that's doing order deliveries, whether that's a side business, whether that's, you know, content creation, whatever you think of, but you need a second income. The first one can be your job. Have your job pay for your bills and your basic necessities, and that second income can fund your lifestyle, or it can fund your future lifestyle, but you always want to invest into yourself. Not having that second income is very risky, because if you lose the first one, then you're put into the position that you're gonna have to use that emergency fund that I was talking about in step 2. So you always want to make sure you have that second income, as many incomes as possible, because then you're able to be more flexible. You know, you're not stuck to that one job, because if you got the side business, you're really like, you're good no matter what. You know what I mean? So having that second income is very important, especially in 2026, because like I said, the cost of living is too high. You just can't pay your bills. You can't get clothes. You can't take trips. You can't spend time with family. You can't go to all these places with one income, especially not a job. This is like, you know, it's just not happening. You need more money. So that's number 3. Number 4, y'all ready? So number 4 is waiting around. That's another financial mistake I would avoid. So waiting around is also like procrastination. You don't want to procrastinate with these bills you're paying. Also with this credit card that I was talking about in step 1. You know what I mean? If you're procrastinating and you're waiting around to pay your bills, your credit card score is going to just only go down. You know what I mean? You gotta take initiative, and you gotta take action out, because the faster you make that step to change your life, the faster you're gonna get to that place you want. But the longer you wait, the longer you're delaying where you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? So just do it now. There's no point in really waiting around and for the right time. There won't be a right time. You just gotta wake up and go for it. You know what I mean? Don't overthink it. I do that a lot. I'll be overthinking, but you can't overthink it. You just gotta do it, bro. Just like Nike, just do it. So you don't want to wait around with your bills, with your finances, with your life goals. You don't want to wait around. You know, take some time today, like right now. Like take some time. Like, what kind of life do you want to live? What kind of financial goals do you want to live? What kind of financial goals do you want to have and achieve? And like, where do you want to go? So you need to take time to figure that out. And just don't wait around, because time really do pass quick. I was like 18 2 years ago. I'm already 20. You know, time get to jumping. I'm not gonna lie. Life just be so fast. It's year after year. Especially when you get out of school, you're gonna really start feeling that after a while. So you want to just start taking action as soon as possible. Don't overthink it. Go for it. You know, you're not always gonna be the best at the first thing you start, but if you just keep going, you're gonna get better over time. And before you know, it's gonna be natural, and you're just gonna be used to doing it. So make sure you're not waiting around, and start today. All right, y'all, number 5, last financial mistake that I would avoid, and it's not tracking my money. You know what I mean? Because if you really think about it, and you go through all the money you make throughout the year, and you really track what you're making and what you're spending, you make way more money than you would think. And, you know, you gotta track your money, bro. if you're not tracking your money, you just don't know where it's going. Because if you think about these big corporations and big businesses, they got someone to track all their money down to the cent. You need to be tracking where all your money is going and where you can put that extra money aside, because I promise you, it's just like little dumb shit that you can take out of your usual expenses, and you can put that money elsewhere, as into investments, as into paying something off, saving up for something, or just going out somewhere. You know what I mean? So it could be like subscriptions, it could be just going to the store randomly, it could be buying clothes. But I would say really just pay attention to what you're spending and track the first week. Get the first week down, track the first month, see what you're really spending, right? Then look over that and like, oh shit, I could spend that money elsewhere. I can move forward and try to do this for next month. But you gotta really be intentional with what you're doing. So yeah, man, you always want to track your money, track your habits, track everything. You got to be on point in your life, because if you're not tracking, you don't know where you're going, and you don't know how you're improving and where you need to improve at. So make sure you're always tracking. And what else did I say? Yeah, make sure you're always tracking, and make sure you're starting out, bro, because the longer you wait, like I said, the longer it's going to take for you to get where you gotta be. So that's the end of the video, y'all. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all subscribe, make sure y'all comment, and really just show the video some love. But I know it's been a minute, but yeah.